Hello and welcome. My name is Mary Lou McPherson and I'm one of the National Practice Leads for the NDIS Zero Tolerance Initiative, and I'm also a member of the NDIS Practice Support Network. This film you're about to watch is part of the NDIS Code of Conduct series, which covers each of the 7 obligations. These films can be watched in sequence with opportunity for reflection and discussions in between each film. Alternatively, you can watch each film on its own if there's a particular obligation of interest, or perhaps something is happening in the workplace that needs to be addressed. It is important to be aware that some things talked about in these films might bring up certain feelings and may make you feel uncomfortable. This may be because of something you've experienced or seen in your work or personal life, and those feelings may come up today, next week, or next month. We ask that you take a moment and think about someone you trust that you can talk to if you need to discuss any of the issues covered in this film. And remember, it's okay if you need to take a break. Contact details are on your screen for Lifeline, Beyond Blue, and 1-800-RESPECT. Or you can also use your Employee Assistance Program. I'm now going to hand you over to Matthew from the NDIS Practice Support Network. The NDIS Practice Support Network comprises of skilled facilitators with a disability and people with extensive experience working in the disability sector.
Hello, my name is Matthew and I am a member of the NDIS Practice Support Network and I live in the Northern Territory. You may notice that I'm reading Braille throughout this presentation. So let us look at what Obligation 6 of the NDIS Code of Conduct means for you. Take all reasonable steps to prevent and respond to all forms of violence against, exploitation, neglect, and abuse of persons with disability. This obligation means never neglecting or being violent or abusive to people with disability. It also means understanding the reasons why people with disability might experience abuse and violence and what you can do to support people to be safe. Evidence demonstrates that people with disability are at a far greater risk of experiencing violence, abuse, neglect, and exploitation than others in the population, and this often goes unrecognised and unaddressed. Women and girls with disability are at far greater risk of violence, and children and young people with disability experience violence and abuse at approximately 3 times the rate of children without disability. As a support worker, you play an important role in helping to prevent, intervene, and respond to violence, abuse, neglect, and exploitation. Like, for example, knowing what restrictive practices are and how you can find better ways to support people. It is also important to know what to do if something bad has happened. Always help the people you are supporting to understand their options and who they can talk to. If an incident does occur, after first ensuring the safety of the person affected, you must report it to your supervisor, the Commission, and/or authorities, including police where appropriate. We are going to look at an NDIS Zero Tolerance film with Steve and his support worker Anna, which shows you the importance of knowing the people you support, particularly people who don't use words to communicate. This film is in 2 parts, so pause the video after the scenario and discuss the questions on the screen. And remember, the facilitator's guide is also there to help. After your discussion, restart the film and hear what other people have to say. I'm off to get some lovely Northern Territory sun now. I will be waiting here for you at the end. See you soon.
Abuse and neglect doesn't always happen in plain sight. People can experience violence and other forms of abuse in very subtle ways.
People can tell us a lot about themselves through their body language, gestures, and eye movements, but we need to take the time to listen.
Get to know the people you support, because people communicate in various different ways.
Steve, you excited about going to the game? Yeah? Yeah. Hey, you should wear your Dragons colours. Get into the spirit of things.
Hi.
Steve, you okay? You okay?
He's just being a sore loser because the Seagulls are going to lose. Hey, I'm going to go and say hi to everyone else.
Hey, I saw the new Blade Runner movie. You would love it. You should take your brother. He's into sci-fi, yeah? You okay?
Well, I think Steve is showing that he may have had a confrontation with that particular support worker. He's not verbal, but he can communicate through his eyes.
I don't agree that people who don't use language don't communicate. And it's really important, if Anna's noticing that change, that he's telling her something's different and I need to talk about it. I need to communicate that somehow.
In the group home setting, it's important to keep an eye out for the little things. If someone's, off their food or, not wanting to be involved in any activities or, pushing their support worker away.
Anna, because she obviously is a worker who observes and listens with all her senses to her clients, is somebody who's may be the first person to pick these things up.
Anna's clearly worried about something. It's really important that she talks to Steve and that she raises it. It's very important to act on gut feelings. Very often, gut feelings indicate something else is wrong.
Hey, Mandy, can I have a minute?
Yeah, sure.
I was just wondering, have you noticed anything going on between Steve and Greta?
Like what?
I don't know, the other day I just got a weird vibe and Steve seems different around her.
What kind of weird vibe?
I don't know, just something.
Can't say I've noticed anything. No one else has said anything, have they?
Mm-mm.
Maybe check the communication book, see if anyone else seems concerned.
Okay.
Steve's brother hasn't said anything, or the day service staff?
No, no one.
Okay, well, just keep an eye out, I guess, and mainly keep checking in with Steve.
Okay, thanks.
Steve's situation is a good example of the sort of thing that can easily be overlooked when someone doesn't have staff working with them who know them well. And it seems to me that that has to be one of the most important goals for any residential service, particularly when they are working with people who have difficulty with communicating.
As a support worker, you're balancing, lots of different responsibilities, but your primary responsibility is always to the person that you're supporting, your client. And if you know that person well, you'll understand that that person needs your support to speak up in that situation and that they might not be able to speak up for themselves.
Welcome back. How did the discussion around those questions go? By now, you will understand how important it is to get to know the people you support and understand how they tell you when something is wrong. And ask the question, Do the people you support understand their rights and what abuse is? That brings us to the end of obligation 6. Before I go, there are a couple of things I'd like you to think about. I want to stress to all support workers the importance of being reliable and punctual when supporting people. For example, think about what the consequences might be for a person if their support worker is late or does not show up at all, and how this would make that person feel. Finally, it's important to remember that people with disability, just like you, have hobbies, interests, passions, likes, dislikes, etc., and that as a support worker, you can play a critical role in supporting people to live fulfilling, enjoyable lives. For example, I love to attend AFL football matches, go the Crows, but need support and assistance to do so.